today we are getting into 2024 goals, or like New Year goals, and also creating the dream version of yourself. So for me, when I was reflecting on this new year, that is just what was resonating with me, was showing up as like no big overarching goals other than to like become a wife and have a wedding and maybe go on a honeymoon, and obviously some like business and career goals. But personal development wise, really like what was standing out to me the most was wanting to have this urge and desire to really show up as the best possible version of myself. And that's not to say that I'm always not doing that. Like, I think every year that's what I'm striving for. But specifically this year it just feels like the moment. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It just feels like the moment that I've prepared for these last like 5 years of doing personal development and working on my habits and working towards being like the highest version of myself. I feel like this is the year that I take all of those tools and all of that practice and really implement it and show up as that person, which is really exciting to say and feel too, because you know there's things that I've been working on for a long time, and I think because of how busy I was with projects and whatnot, I really didn't have the time or bandwidth to dedicate like my energy and focus my energy onto being the dream version of myself. And now in the past year, I feel like I've dipped my toes, I've started to show up more consistently in some areas that I've wanted to for years, but I wasn't seeing much progress in the past year. And it's interesting, and this is all in hindsight, a reflection, and I also share this to share that like, if you are so busy and constantly burnt out and you have a really demanding work schedule or home schedule with family and keeping up with kids, and you also have goals that you set for yourself personal development wise, whether it's breaking bad habits or starting new ones, and you haven't been hitting them and you're feeling like any guilt or shame around that, or feeling like you're not, showing up for yourself the way you should be, have some grace. Have grace with yourself, please, because you already have so much on your plate. And that's why in hindsight, I'm realizing, I'm like, how come in 2023 I feel closer to these personal goals? And it's because a lot of work was taken off my plate. So, and to see that direct correlation, I think is really valuable. So that's like what I want you to take away from this. Don't be too hard on yourself. Like, to work on yourself is a privilege. It's a luxury. To work on your personal development, it is a luxury. You have to be, it's not for everyone, and it's not for everyone's phase of life that they're in. You have to be out of like survival mode. To be completely transparent with you guys, like if you're just trying to get by and you're just trying to stay sane, then you are doing the best job you can do, and you are doing amazing. And sometimes like just making it through the day is enough for many people. So with all that to say, working on yourself to this degree is a luxury, and I don't take that for granted. And it is something that I want all of you as well, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're interested in, that as well. So it's just a luxury and a privilege that we shouldn't take for granted. With all that being said, I have written down some of the things that will make me feel like dream me, like the dream version of myself this year. And I feel like I couldn't get into the habits and like the to-dos without first starting with mindset, because that has so much to do with it. So I wrote some things down for mindset, and then for feelings, like what does the dream version of me want to feel? How does she feel when she wakes up every day? And really just like embodying that person versus it being some far-fetched idea of, who I could be. And then for like the habits and the to-dos, the more actionable stuff, I pretty much for the most part broke them down into daily habits and daily to-dos. I have some weekly in here too, but I feel like that is the best way to stay on course and to stay actionable, is, to have this checklist of things that you're doing and practicing every day. And I say practice because it literally is a practice. Like, you have to train these muscles. It's really hard to implement a new habit when you've gone your whole life not doing that habit, or you've gone your whole life doing a bad habit and trying to break that. It takes like years, I think, in my opinion, to unlearn habits, especially while you're living a full life, working, taking care of a family, doing whatever it is you're doing. Like, if just you were a full-time job and you didn't have to worry about anything else, then yeah, sure, you could work on habits and change them like within 2 weeks. But if you have life going on, it takes a lot longer than that, and that's what I've learned. So let's get into it. First of all, starting with mindset, these kind of turned into like just like almost mantras that I just want to see and feel every day. So the first one is I don't have to, I get to, which has been huge for me, and that just always brings me back to a place of gratitude, especially in my line of work, because I've been doing it for so long. Transparently, I'm noticing that I'm feeling a little jaded, which is crazy because it is the best job in the world. I'm so lucky that I get to like take videos and edit them, and not to say it's not, you know, work, it is work, but it's so fun, it's so creative. I feel so lucky to be able to do it full time, but sometimes I still do feel resistance to it. So that is just to remind me, like, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed, and, you know, 17-year-old Olivia would have died to be doing this as a full-time career. So that is a good reminder for me to remember every single day. I don't have to, I get to. And this is also for anything. I have to go grocery shopping. No, you don't have to, you get to. A lot of people don't get that. So, or, you know, I have to walk my dogs. You don't have to, you get to. You get to have dogs. Not everyone gets to have dogs. So really you can apply it to so many things, and it always will just bring you back to a place of gratitude, which I love. Okay, the next is I am blessed and highly favored. Period. I mean, that one speaks for itself. I like to just operate in that mindset of like, I am highly favored, because I also, and I probably should talk to a therapist about this. YouTube is my therapist. I've also have gone through feeling a lot of guilt for the life I live because I feel so lucky and blessed. So, and it has made me feel like something is looming around the corner, or things are too good to be true, or I always have to like be prepared for when things aren't so good. So that has been a good mantra for me, to kind of just accept my blessings and not block them, and feel gratitude for the life I live. So I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. Leave it at that. I don't chase, I attract. Also pretty self-explanatory, but I love that one. And then the next kind of follows that one as well. I'm a magnet for success, love, health, and abundance. So I feel like waking up, also I'm gonna tape this to the wall next to my bed, so it's the first thing I see every morning. I feel like just starting your day with those 4 mantras, like, it's gonna be a good day. You're setting yourself up for success. So that's like the mindset, right? That's the mindset of Dream Olivia, who I think about when I'm like, yes, I wanna be her. That is her mindset. That's how she's operating in her day-to-day life. Feelings that Dream Me has and feels throughout her days are calm, inner peace, joy, and playfulness. Obviously, that's not the only things I want to feel. I want to feel love and laughter and whatever else, all those other great things. But for me, I think in the past year or so, I have struggled a little bit with anxiety. So it's really important for me to feel calm and to feel inner peace throughout my day, like as a through line of all my days. Like, that's all I ever want to feel, is just at peace and calm. And then of course joy, and I like to use the term joy versus happiness, because I feel like happiness is fleeting and joy is a more like, feels deeper of a word. Like you really feel joy in your soul and your heart and your core, so that's why I choose joy. And then playfulness, because playfulness brings joy into my life. So like being silly, being childlike, you know, leaning into and nurturing our inner child who likes to play and likes to be silly and doesn't take life too seriously. That's really important for me as well. I also notice I'm happiest when I'm with people who are very playful, because it brings joy out of you. So love that one. Okay, let's get into the habits and the to-dos. So I have 8 a.m. out of bed. So ideally this would be like a 7 a.m. wake up. What I've learned about myself is that I like to just like lay in bed. I like to wake up in bed. I don't like to open my eyes, jump out of bed, and then try to wake up like doing stuff around the house or like doing anything in general. Like I feel like I'll just fall back asleep. And maybe this is a habit I need to break, but personally I like kind of waking up in bed, and then once I'm stepping out of bed, kind of already feeling awake. So 8 a.m. is the goal. To be honest, I've been horrible with this past week. I totally like let myself slide. I did not set an alarm, but I also just gave myself a few days to sleep in and just enjoy it because I can. But it does end up stressing me out later in the day. So I'm a mix about that. I know I'm a better person when I wake up and get out of bed earlier. I know I'm happier. I feel more like the dream version of myself when I'm out of bed by 8 a.m. So period. I have sun over screen, and a lot of this, I had just listened to the Mel Robbins podcast, and she shared a lot of like research and science behind a few of these things, but one of them being sun over screen. So pretty much just like getting outside and, you know, looking at the sky. I think it might have been sky over screen, either or, but just making sure that your eyes, the first thing that they're seeing is like nature and the sun and the sky and the sunrise versus your phone. This is something I do feel like I've gotten a lot better about. Like I am happy to not reach for my phone in the mornings. Sometimes I do just to check text, but I'm not getting into a scroll hole first thing in the morning, and I really like that. So that's been nice. Next is no caffeine first hour and a half of the day. Also something I learned from a podcast of hers, and I'll link it in this description if you guys want to listen. But basically she was saying how, or the specialist or guest that she had on was saying that basically we run out of a hormone. If we like grab coffee the first thing in the morning, we run out of a hormone later in the day, which basically leads to our crash, like our caffeine crash midday. So she was saying if you wait an hour and a half before drinking the coffee, your body will naturally adjust to basically not have that crash. I don't know the science behind it. I'm butchering it. Listen to the podcast if you want the science backed review, but I'm gonna start implementing that. I have a few days already, and I feel like I've noticed a difference, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I also got in a really bad habit for a while of drinking coffee like first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and as much as I love like the high that would give me, like it would literally feel like I was cracked out and ready to take over the world, and I love that, but I just know that's like not good for me long term and not good for my gut health, and it would destroy my stomach. So we're gonna stop doing that. The next is put things back in their place / just clean up after myself. That is something I definitely could be better about. I tend to leave little things like a trail, like, and Tyler always makes fun of me for it. Like he's like, I can see your morning. Like when I come home, I can see exactly what you did because of the trail you leave behind. And like, I don't want to be that person. So I'm working on cleaning up after myself. Little things like just in the moment, instead of being like, oh, I'll do that later, being like, no, let me do it right now. Putting things back in their place contributes to a cleaner home. You have to clean up less, etc., etc. Next, also in that podcast was a protein-packed breakfast. She said you should be getting 30 to 50 grams of protein in your breakfast. It keeps you full longer, it gives you more energy for your day. I love that. I'm a breakfast person in general, so it's easy for me to just add a few protein options into my breakfast already. Also, something just like a great recommendation is a book that I read called Atomic Habits. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. Really, really great book. Amazing book to read at like the beginning of a year. It's so helpful when thinking about habits, and like I know I've taken the lessons from that book and I've applied them to all of my habits and they've helped me. So definitely recommend. I think it's by James Clear, Atomic Habits. Really, really great read. Next is working out 3 times a week. I'm so happy to report that I've actually been pretty good about this. I found a really good yoga studio that I love, and they have yoga sculpt classes, which is like, it's similar to Pilates. It's basically body weight or low weight, but it is a workout class and it is really hard. And I've been I buy class packs, and that has been really great for like getting me to work out and move my body. I felt so good, and it's just been really nice because I've been wanting to do that for years. Again, that was something that I was like, oh, I gotta work out, I gotta go to the gym, and I just wasn't doing it. And then I found this yoga studio. It's a place where it feels like a safe space to me, and the gym doesn't. And I think that's why I've been so much better about implementing that habit. So the goal here is to show up there 3 times a week, whether it's 3 sculpt classes, 2 sculpt and 1 yoga flow, 3 times a week, and I'll be happy. I would love to up that at some point, but for now, I'm happy with that. Next is a daily journal. Shout out my journal club if you're not already in there and you want to get in the habit of journaling. Let me know. I'm happy to add you. It's just a WhatsApp group, and we hold each other accountable, and it's really nice. So I do monthly journal prompts, and I change them every month. that's been really good. It helps me set the tone for my day, helps me be more intentional about my day. And I just, the dream version of myself does that. And I'm happy to report that I feel like I'm doing that. Like, she's doing it. She's doing it. She's in a good thing. The journal club has really helped like a lot, just helping me hold me accountable. And that's been nice because I'm the leader of the club and I have to set a good example. So it puts additional pressure and accountability on me, which is really good. Next is daily vitamins and supplements. I mean, this is like something the dream version of me does, but currently I'm so overwhelmed with like what vitamins to take. If you guys have recommendations, it's just, I feel like there's so many, and whenever you like try to do research, it's like you need to be taking everything, and then there's so many trends that come and go that I don't really trust. Also, I think being on the influencer side, there's so much marketing for supplements that I don't really trust a lot of what I see, like Athletic Greens or Ritual. Like, I don't know what actually works and what's actually science-backed. That one I still have to kind of figure out, and I want to do more research on. Maybe I should like speak with a holistic doctor or something and see like what I also don't want to be like taking stuff that I don't need to take, because I'm not like a big pill taker anyways. So maybe that one might have some additional like to-dos and some research for that. Okay, next is no scroll holes. This one it's kind of hard because I learned so much. Like, for example, I really only get in scroll holes on TikTok, sometimes Instagram Reels, but I feel like I learned so much and it does feel very valuable. So this one I'm really debating, but basically if I'm gonna get in a scroll hole, I want it to be intentional. What I've been doing lately is setting a timer. Like if I'm great at listening to that timer is another story, but I'll set like a 15-minute, 30-minute timer and be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do it for, because the worst feeling is just looking up after 2 hours and nothing changed other than losing time. So I just don't want to do that anymore. Next is oral hygiene. Really want to get on top of my oral hygiene game this year, which it sounds like that's pretty obvious, or like maybe even like you should already be on that, but I'll be honest, some days I let it slip up. I just like got into flossing regularly this past year. So we're gonna work on that. We're gonna continue to work on that. Obviously, brush twice a day, floss, and whiten. I'm getting married this year and I'm gonna be wearing a lot of white, so I need to be whitening my teeth in general. And we're almost at the end of the list. Next is read before bed / no phone, especially when you kind of run anxious. Like, I feel like the phone before bed for me makes it a lot worse. I'm almost like when I close my eyes and I'm done with my phone or I'm trying to go to sleep, I feel like my mind is still scrolling, and that's like a horrible feeling. So I really love reading before bed. I think that sets me up for a much better sleep. And the dream version of myself, she reads before bed. She's reading and the time to read is before bed. Next is house refresh daily. I know I operate in so much better when my house is clean and tidy. Like, when I feel like I'm living in my dream space, I feel like the dream version of me. So that is a reminder for myself, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes, just house refresh daily. I go to sleep better. I wake up feeling better. Done. Okay, the next 2 are just weekly things. One is fresh flowers weekly. Again, like, that's so nice. You have fresh flowers in your house all the time. That's so the dream version of me, you know? You're picking up what I'm putting down. Like, it's not necessary, but it's a little luxury that makes such a big difference to me, at least. And then last but not least, I have hair and face masks weekly. I've never been a super beauty girl. I've never been a product girly, a skincare girly. Like, I've always just done the bare minimum. Thankfully, my skin is, she's good, she's thriving. I've never wanted to mess that up with too many products. But it's funny because I get so many products, and hence why I had a whole product cabinet. It was a whole thing. I just got rid of it. But regardless, I would like to get into a little bit more of like beauty care and just taking care of my skin a little bit more now that I'm 28. We gotta start taking care of her. And then my hair, I started coloring it the last 3 years, and I don't think I've like done anything to kind of make up for that, to like the damage that's possibly causing. So I want to be more intentional about taking care of my hair, making sure it's hydrated, doing some scalp care because I have pretty dry scalp. I've suffered from dandruff quite a bit. I feel like incorporating those things into my weekly routine would help a lot with that. And it just like, it feels good to take care of yourself. Like I did a hair mask yesterday. She feels so soft, so smooth, so silky, and we love that. And it smells good too, so that doesn't help. That doesn't help. That doesn't hurt. Okay, you guys, that is it. That is the dream version of me for this year. I love watching these. I love knowing what other people are working on. A lot of these have been inspiration from what other people are working on, so I think it's just helpful. So I hope this is helpful for you, and if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I will see you guys next week for another one. Mwah.